Hey everyone, in this video, I'll share another powerful mental toughness technique on how to maximize productivity from home during COVID-19. If you haven't seen the most recent video, I highly recommend you watch that video before or after watching this one, as I discuss the dangers of what are called productivity traps. I'll make sure to include the link to the video below. But in this video, I want to teach you how to organize your time in a way that'll put you many steps ahead of your competition. Also, make sure to stick around until the end of the video as I share with you how to use this powerful method to reorganize your time to maximize your training. But before we begin, please like this video if you haven't, as it greatly helps out the channel's algorithm. Also, if you're an athlete who wants to win more, hates to lose, or is looking to break through the next level, please subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the latest mental toughness tips, webinars, podcasts, and more. Okay, so in the last video, we discussed just how easy it is for athletes to fall into productivity traps. Now, these productivity traps are produced by the human brain's search for pleasure and comfort. Remember, we discussed productivity traps such as spending excess time on your phone or binge watching a show. Well, let's now break down exactly how to organize your time to maximize performance while battling distractions. To begin, I want to introduce you to what is known as the time management matrix. This time management approach was developed by Stephen Covey, a renowned American business and organizational expert. Mr. Covey broke down human behavior and habits into a matrix comprised of 4 quadrants. Each quadrant represents a choice in human behavior that we as individuals and specifically athletes engage in every day. Now, the 4 quadrants are broken down as such. Quadrant 1 falls into the category of important and urgent. This quadrant represents everything in an athlete and performer's life that requires urgency, such as a football team reviewing film before a big game that they're playing later in the evening. This is urgent because the team needs to be ready to take on that team's specific strengths and set plays. Another example from Quadrant 1 is when a tennis player or race car driver needs to qualify to get in the main draw or the main race. This is highly urgent because failing to qualify would mean that they would be out of the tournament or race. Now, other examples of Quadrant 1 is a student athlete needing to finish a project that is due the next day. He knows that not finishing the assignment on time could result in a bad grade or even failing the class. Now let's shift our attention to Quadrant 2. Quadrant 2 focuses on what's important, but not urgent. Examples of Quadrant 2 are when athletes need to stick with a specific workout program that their coaches assigned to them. This workout program is not urgent, because if the athlete skips her workouts for a few days, then she still has a chance of playing well in tomorrow's game. However, the workout program is highly important, because this workout will pay off over time as she commits to it day after day, month after month, and year after year. Of course, with some recovery breaks in between. So as a result, athletes are able to achieve great success in the future, such as developing world-class puck handling skills in hockey or fielding skills in baseball. And what's unique about Quadrant 2 is that athletes have to stick with it consistently. This means that unlike Quadrant 1, an athlete can't just decide last minute to make up 6 months of fitness in just 3 days. Don't try that. To give you a great example, some of the most mentally tough athletes I've ever worked with are triathletes, specifically Ironman athletes. Now, the Ironman is a specific triathlon that is widely considered one of the most difficult one-day sporting events in the world. It consists of 3 events. First, a 2.4-mile swim. Second, a 112-mile bicycle ride. And third, a marathon 26.2-mile run. Now, to prepare for an Ironman competition, many triathletes spend years getting in peak performance shape, and every aspect of their performance is trained to a science. I'm talking about their fitness, nutrition, technical, tactical, and mental. And forget about even attempting one if you haven't thoroughly trained for it. In fact, many experts suggest that if you want to compete in one, you need at least 6 months of consistent training. So the only way a triathlete can succeed in an Ironman competition is if they commit the majority of their time to Quadrant 2. Now let's briefly discuss Quadrants 3 and 4. To start, Quadrant 3 falls into the category of urgent, but not important. For many athletes, this quadrant is a performance trap disguised as productivity. This means that many athletes spend time in this quadrant thinking that they're being productive, when in reality, they're falling behind. Some examples of Quadrant 3 traps are checking behaviors, such as going online to check what your opponent's ranking is, or your opposing team's matchup history against a similar team. This commitment may seem like productivity, but it's oftentimes not helpful and only increases anxiety and future worry. Another example of Quadrant 3 behavior is contemplating how much playing time your coach will give you in the next game. There's just no way of knowing this answer unless you have a crystal ball. Therefore, many behaviors that athletes commit to in Quadrant 3 are reactive instead of proactive. And the urgency tends to be based on superficial priorities such as expectations of others. Lastly, there's Quadrant 4. Quadrant 4 is not urgent and it's not important. These behaviors include activities that do not benefit the athlete in any productive way whatsoever, and in many cases rob the athlete of valuable training time. These types of activities are the main productivity traps that were discussed in the last video and include spending excessive time on social media, gaming apps, watching excessive amounts of TV, texting, and even reading trivial news, and what we often call busy work, such as washing the car. I mean, for some of you, washing the car has been a while, so that may fall under Quadrant 1. Okay, so now that we've broken down the 4 quadrants, it's time to start maximizing your time management skills. First things first, write down all of your activities you commit to throughout the day. Next, write down an approximation of how much time you dedicate to each. Don't be alarmed if you discover that you're spending 50% or more of your time during the day in quadrants 3 and 4. This just means that you have an incredible amount of newly found untapped time throughout the day to take your performance to the next level. Third, categorize all of your activities into the 4 quadrants. And now comes the hard part for many. Start reducing and even eliminating all behaviors that fall under quadrants 3 and 4. Research shows that the most productive and successful athletes in the world spend little to no time in quadrants 3 and 4. Just keep that in mind while working to become the best version of yourself. After you've adjusted or eliminated quadrants 3 and 4, now readjust quadrants 1 and 2, making sure to prioritize the majority of the extra time to quadrant 2. Unlike quadrant 3 and 4, you don't need, nor do I suggest that you eliminate quadrant 1. There's always going to be something urgent and important to take care of in your life, and that's a good thing. Just make sure to not spend too much time in that quadrant, because that's when athletes stop getting better. Now, this time management performance method is just one way to start maximizing your training, but it's not the complete method on how to improve your mental toughness. If you like this discussion and want to really take your performance to its highest level, make sure to check out the company website link below, where you can start training your mental game with live group training, online courses, and customized one-on-one sessions with myself. Also, please give the video a thumbs up if you haven't, and remember to subscribe to the channel, as I look forward to providing you with much more valuable content every week. Please feel free to leave any comments below, as I would love to hear from you about how it's going in productivity in your training, and even ideas for future mental toughness videos on topics that are of interest to you. So keep working hard, keep dreaming big, and until next time.